many years, talk radio became the dominant form of commercial talk radio in the United States. And internet live radio stations can be heard anywhere, anytime, around the world in real time. You, the audience, are listening to Pyramid One World Radio Network. Hi, and welcome to Pyramid One Radio. Welcome to A View of Humanity with your host, Jamie Clark. Jamie Clark discovered that he had the gift of psychic intuition and could also communicate messages and feelings between people living and those who have left this physical plane of existence. In other words, he can communicate with those we have loved and lost. Now, with thousands of powerful connections made worldwide and years of experience as his guide, Jamie offers this healing phenomenon to those who need it most. People searching for life direction and guidance, as well as those seeking answers and closure from family and friends that have passed. How does Jamie's mediumship work? Let him tell you. Listen carefully. Triangulation of communication. He says, each of us is like a radio tuner. We have the ability to tune into many different channels. Before I read someone, I tune into our loved one's channel and send out an invitation of communication with you. Our souls are like fingerprints in a way that each of us is unique. Our loved ones know our soul print. And by our invitation and their realization, they now create a triangle of communication. Jamie says, Jamie to them to you, and you to Jamie. They know that Jamie is on and are receptive and will sometimes come early to understand Jamie's rules and regulations and how most effectively to communicate. Now that we are all on the same channel, let's work together as a team. Let me introduce to you, to the world, to the universe, Mr. Jamie Clark. And there he is, right there, right here for you.
Yeah, baby. Always a great time, definitely. And we got some callers. Let's bring them on.
Yeah, let me see who first. Hey, Lori, you there? Hi, Lori. Lori?
Family.
She's there. Yeah. Hi, Lori. My God, it's pouring outside like we're having a hurricane.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
You don't hear that? Listen.
Are you hearing anything? Because I'm not.
I hear it.
Pretty insulated, man. That's good.
I hear it on my end.
I heard something there. I heard it.
Lori? Lori.
Let's see if we can come back to her. She might be very busy.
Yeah, I hear you breathing. Come on, Lori.
Lori.
No, Lori.
Okay, who's on the line?
Karen.
How come? Well, your ID says Lori, but okay.
Interesting. Cool. So, Karen, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing very well. So what's up? How can we be of service for you? You want a reading? Do you have any target questions?
I would like a reading. That would be awesome.
Well, there you go.
Cool. One, I feel like you're very good for other people. Two, I kind of feel like you're bringing more people back into your life. Okay, not that everyone disappeared, but sometimes things change and you're kind of left to find yourself again. But in addition, I feel like being able to, one, everyone's a psychic medium, but two, I feel like you do tune into people. I do feel like you use your abilities very casually. It's not judgment, it's understanding and compassion. But in addition, if you haven't been thinking about, I hope you're retired and you never have to work, but whether you are or not doesn't matter. If you haven't been offered an opportunity career-wise or like a business-wise in the past 3 months prior to this date or sooner, I'll say don't be surprised if something is offered. Just because it's offered doesn't mean you have to choose it. But I just feel like this is, without being too general, kind of like the next phase of your life. Do you understand that at all?
Yeah, that would be great.
Well, good thing is I'm not going to make it up. If I get it, here it is. But the great thing is when it hasn't happened yet, perfect. And not that it's guaranteed, but it becomes more validating that it hadn't happened yet, and then we said it, and then it happens. Now, again, like I said, just because whatever it is offered does not mean you have to choose it. I just want to do the best I can to be that road sign to go, and here's most likely what's coming up for you. Do you like it or do you not? I want to make you proactive.
And
Yeah.
in addition, Karen, this is Maggie Clark. I'm actually joining Jamie today. So, and in addition to what Jamie said, I definitely feel like you're ready to overcome some stagnant energy. You have made a very cool commitment to yourself recently, and I feel like that's really what's driving a lot of changes for you. And so I just want to put that out there, kind of acknowledge it. And I agree with Jamie, there is an opportunity business-wise coming up, and it will move you into a stronger position of leadership or training or teaching in some manner as well.
That's exciting to hear. And you're right. I have been somewhat stagnant with some feelings, and all of a sudden I feel differently.
Yes.
Well, I feel more empowered with accepting things for the way that they are and not having expectations from others that aren't capable of, I don't know, my ideas and what ultimately, I would like out of the relationship.
Yeah. Definitely stay committed to yourself, because this is just one of those life opportunities to, be powerful when times are a little bit challenging or tough, or we just have issues to deal with. But the commitment that you've made to yourself, as long as you keep that in order, it's going to shake up that stagnant energy. It's going to propel you to the next level, whatever your next level is. And, I definitely see that some of those issues can be a little bit challenging here with some of the cards that I threw down, but definitely just stay committed to, the train of thinking that you have really been working with, and for what you really want to cultivate and co-create in your life. Jamie talks about, working with this cosmic God soil, and I feel like you've been doing it very consciously. So you'll be able to, really manifest some new experiences soon.
That's good to hear.
Got anything else?
Any late loved ones around there for me?
All right, for today, we're going to be doing just the psychic aspect. I've still got even more appointments where it's all been mediumship. So yeah, if you're cool, we're just going to be doing the psychic. Any other questions, if any?
Yeah, perhaps you see the relationship with my son and daughter-in-law improving.
Yeah, I do feel like it does. It's not going to be instantaneous, but I do feel like over the next few months, there's maybe a little bit more effective communication between he and his lovely wife. But it's also in that capacity that I feel like your son is having to kind of be true to himself as well. And with kids, we can't always do it for him, but we can do it with him. And I kind of feel like that support, if we're able to, is a big thing for him, because sometimes, they're now caught in the middle of circumstances.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, sure. And again, as things are going, I hope it's instantaneous, but it doesn't feel that. I just feel like a little bit at a time, there's going to kind of be testing the waters and then see what the reaction is and then go from there.
Mm-hmm. And what do you see as far as is this attitude and this power that seems so important to him? Is this something that he is not able to control? It is just part of his personality. What I'm asking is it a narcissistic thing, or is it something that he can overcome?
I'm not a doctor, could not diagnose for nothing, for nobody, never. But I do feel like, yes, as things are moving along, there is this kind of a dynamic of the attitude and the power making an adjustment. And sometimes, not that this is the case with your son, but sometimes in our life experience, we may not feel as in control as we could. And then sometimes in a relationship, you're not quite sure where things are going. But in this, sometimes when things may not be as strong as they could, your amped up energy to go, I found the value in me. I can do this. I can add to it. And sometimes it certainly does come across as narcissistic, and there is that potential. But I just kind of feel like in his own way, he's wanting to make sure that he validates himself. Okay, all right, I'm doing the best I can. Great. So now as things are adjusting, he's able to honor himself a little bit more rather than necessarily potentially justifying to others.
Okay. Do you see my mother hurt in all of this?
I am not getting a clear energy, so I will not make that up.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
That's inevitable.
You got anything else? Come on,
No,
let's go.
that'll
Get
do.
them all out there. Come on, put them on the plate. Let's go.
Rile them up.
Okay, I tell you something. There's a lot of people. We've been doing this for now 11 plus years. Okay.
Yep.
After all those years and they're doing it, everybody holds back. They got one thing that's sitting in the back pocket. Did they say anything? No. But they write me the next day and say, I should have said, duh.
Good communication, though. At least they've got it.
I mean, me personally. Now you and I have been working together forever, but there's something else. There's something in the voice. There's something else she'd like to know about, and she's not saying it. What is it? I hear it.
Silence.
Like I said, I hear you breathing.
That's okay.
Yes, I'm talking to you. What? I mean, you got something. There's something in a back shelf and at some place, and you're saying, no, I don't know if I should ask that. And, I mean, it's those kind of things. That's what I'm feeling.
I don't know. I guess I'm wondering if I'm going to be allowed to have a relationship with my grandchildren. Is this something that, my son and daughter-in-law are going to support, or are they going to continue with this, whatever it is, but it's not good.
You got, all right. So just let me clear this up, Annette, so we get the exact thing here. You're talking about you're shut out from your grandkids.
Yeah, as much as they can, yes. And yeah.
Bingo.
I'm on my way to the grandkids, but it's very, controlled. It's not anything like it used to be where, and they're still little, but I'm not completely understanding their reasoning behind it, except for I think they know I'm kind of on to their game, and I've had enough.
Well, there you go.
Then it's going to be a pushback. Again, just in some capacities, if they're feeling that and they're calling some things that seemingly just a little bit may not feel as powerful. So they'll potentially use other circumstances or dynamics to get you to feel powerless. And so then it's like, God, I get frustrated. Now, Again, I feel like you're handling it decently. Crazy as that sounds, I feel like no. But in addition, I would love to say immediately, I don't get that, but I do get a very strong potential, like 80%. That's a lot more than you will or you won't. But before the end of 2022, again, it could be today that the things adjust, but I do feel like kind of like this, it's supervised and okay, whatever. But down the road, I feel like things either get more healed, more effective, to where it's maybe like it was before, that there's some freedom. You can have some fun. You can just be that. Because I just feel like for some reason, possibly they're having to be under a microscope. And I know that's odd to say, but I just feel like maybe people are trying to get information or insight or something in that way. But either way, I do feel like end result, more than likely, you'll be able to make a reconnection stronger with the grandchildren. What do you get in that?
Certainly hope so.
Well, there you
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, hang in there. What I would love for you to think about doing, if you're interested, is how about if you maybe just take a minute or two a day, and I want you to sit down and imagine yourself playing with the kids. Take them in your mind, take them to an amusement park, anything of those happy vibes, because that kind of just an energy sending is also what I equate to a dynamic where, tell me, there's never been a time in your life where you're just sitting there doing nothing. And all of a sudden this nice energy just comes over you like, that was weird. I didn't do anything. What if that was an energetic sending from somebody and you let it land on you? My point is, you're not going to make them, but that energy vibe can be strong enough to where they have their own choice, will allow it to land on their energy and vibe with that. I just feel like things are being, not that they're taken away from your son, but I just feel like things have really restricted, not just in a one dynamic, it's like a variety of others.
Okay. Well, I can certainly do that, and I'm willing to try just about anything, Jamie.
Excellent. Yes, thank you very much. And my thing is don't say anything to anyone. Put this to the test so that way it's a clean energy. Yeah, because otherwise you could, I'm sending your energy and it's no. That way when they're making adjustments of their own accord, and they're like, it's been interesting, but your son might be like, I don't know, the other day I was just feeling a really nice energy and a connection. And I've just been kind of, vibing the family, meaning he'll be thinking about you guys. Not that he's taken away, but I also feel like that kind of discombobulation is your son's trying to find more balance with the circumstances and dynamics, because we're not always able to control everything. And not that he has to control it, but circumstances.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
Now
I
let me
appreciate that, and I will give it a try, and I will let you know.
Yeah, now let
Yes,
me
thank you. Awesome.
let me remind you, you can get a copy of this show just by writing Pyramid One Radio at AOL.com and just tell me on your subject line, I was listening to you on Jamie's show. That's all you have to say, and I'll know where it came from. The other thing you can do is go on YouTube and put in where it says channels, put in Pyramid One Radio, and you'll come to the pictures of the pyramids. You just click on that, and there's the channels with all the shows on it, including this one.
He's got a library, Karen. You should check it out.
So there you go.
Awesome.
Very, very easy to get in touch with us.
And beautiful. Just a little bit of a valid. Yes, ma'am. And just a little bit of validation is she's starting to open up again. She's starting to finally, call and take time for her. And then just by doing that, she might have received a couple of different perspectives to go, okay, I didn't think, all right. And the ability is she didn't have to call in, but she did. And taking that time, I always say, hi, I'm Jamie. I'm no longer a hypocrite. As much as I service to others, right, I keep myself included, because it's always that ability to help others, but I needed to make sure I could keep myself included. And that's a lot, as a parent, we can't do it for them. We always want the best, but we'll do it with them.
No, we have no other calls at this time, and they actually dropped out. But it was, from what I'm looking at, that they have Wi-Fi, and their Wi-Fi went.
Yeah, crazy, huh?
So yeah, but I was watching Newsmax and that before. 2 guests in a row. Poof. So go figure. So I mean, it doesn't happen here.
Your son is hanging around today strongly. So,
I was just thinking about him this morning, believe it or not.
no wonder. Okay, well, sure. But it's that kind of connection. You just need to go, well, you didn't say nothing. We said it first. But he's got that connection, which also is just an indicator to go, he's listening to you, or I wouldn't have necessarily been given that information kind of thing. But it's also that he's wanting to have some fun with you. And he calls it a project. I know it's odd, but don't be surprised. Yeah, if you create something or a dynamic and he can help you, he'll just drop information into your mind and just click like, okay, cool. And when they can do that, and yeah, I heard that.
God, sound like
That's
a
fantastic.
That's
finally.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and because I'm out here in Phoenix, I've become a desert rat. But it's been a long time since we've had any really good thunderstorms. And finally, a week or two ago, we had that, which was beautiful. And it cleaned up the air. In Phoenix, you're in a dust bowl, baby. It's got to take some heavy clouds to make it over the mountain ranges.
Well, you get a little extra nitrogen in the air while you're breathing. It smells great, though.
I bet.
Here's a couple things that I want to talk about. Let's get into some.
Bring it on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I, from the bottom of my heart, congratulations on your award.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Clark, for those of you that are out there listening and going, what the hell is he talking about? Jamie Clark won the Phoenix 2021 Jamie Clark Psychic Award again. 3 years in a row. This is the third year in a row. 3 is always a heavy duty number,
Yep.
And this is, when I saw it, I was like, no way. And yeah, I mean, I have been saying that this guy kicks booty like you have no idea. And finally, we're seeing it. I mean, every year he gets the award because people know what he is, what he does, and who he is. And that's something that everybody listening should, in their own mind, say, hey, I'm calling the most important man to me on this planet because he's going to tell me something I need to know. Not want to know, need to know. That's why I tell everybody to call the show when the show is on. The number is 609-663-0153. And it's awesome. It really, really is. People can personally talk to you on the show. They didn't, it wasn't like, some kind of a scheduled, meeting or something. Anybody in the world on the 10, if you call into that phone number and you're out of our area, you will come up with a screen that you called in on if you're out of the country. If you look on the upper right-hand corner, I believe it is, on the left-hand corner, there's a little thing there that has the American flag on it. Click on the flag, it'll come down, and it'll give you numbers that you can call from any country in the world. You can call in to us. They'll give you a number to call in on. Excellent. And that is like really, really cool. And if you are in another country and you can't get in for some crazy reason, then you write pyramid1radio@aol.com and you say, Bob, I have problems with my phone or whatever. I will answer you by giving you or sending you the number or the way to get in, even if I have to bring you in on Skype. I can do that too.
And he does.
And I do. So, we can do that kind of stuff. Okay. Second thing on my list. The doggy. Yeah. The doggy's donations. I am so rescue dog dad. It's not funny.
I'm right there with you. So, so Forever Friends Humane Society is where we rescued Simba, the cosmic canine, from. And so they're raising donations for their dogs in boarding to help them find forever homes. And Simba decided he was going to pimp me out and make me work. So we have right now the bidding, I think, is at $300. It's a huge astrology package, including an astrology consultation with your natal report, a solar return, 6 months of transits. Also, you can get a natal report and a compatibility for a friend or partner. And then also, Simba threw in a bunch of swag from our podcast, Psychic Evolution. So there's like a coffee cup, a mouse pad, of course, my book, a hat, a t-shirt, and a journal so that you can take notes. And the bidding just keeps going and going. So he'll probably increase the package a little bit. Once, if it gets closer to 350, he'll throw in an extra bone or two, because he's just having fun raising money for his friends.
Yeah, there you go. And then the other thing is that too, that they also throw in a used stuffed sock that's been used for a month. So you definitely get a piece of the dog. I'm sure that's with or without fleas.
Special order.
Without.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
There's an option. You have to click in the little box. Just click. I want flea.
Hey, Bob, so just offhanded question. With all of the shows that you do, and in this way, some of the spiritual shows, have you picked up your intuitive abilities? Have those amplified in any way?
I think I told you about a year ago. I mean, something was like I woke up one day, and do you ever get up in the morning and you know what your day is going to be like till the time you go to sleep? You go up in the morning, it's like bing. Okay, I'm going to do this, and you know what you're going to do. You know what you're going to complete. One of those days I had, and I said, "This is weird," and I was just going to talk to you before we came on actually, and ask you about Groundhog Day. Because in the last 2 days, I had Groundhog Day.
Nice.
Except for doing this show, I've done everything. Like somebody made a carbon copy of one day into another day. And it was one of those days you knew everything. You know who you're going to talk to. You know what you were going to say. And the people that I was talking to today, of course, you know what I was talking about because it's all over the news and everything else. But I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning, so I'm reading news that doesn't come from New York or California or any of those places. Usually it's from Australia because I do work with the station there. That's our C station C, Studio C. Right now they're having a big problem down there in that they can't go out of the house, they can't go shopping, they can't go anywhere. So that's because of COVID-19 and all that kind of stuff going on. So they shut down everything. New Zealand, they shut New Zealand down, which John, John, yep. And that he has relatives that are in New Zealand. They shut down the whole island of New Zealand because one person got COVID. One.
Wow.
So you can imagine what they did in Australia. Maybe they shut the whole.
Yeah.
Serious. I mean, it's kind of bad. And of course, China is unloading all their stuff in Australia, and there's a million things. If you ever got like 2 or 3 hours, I can tell you some stuff that they don't tell you on the news.
I bet. I've always appreciated your well-versed energy because I'm like, I don't have a clue for most of what you're talking about.
It's not well nursed. I just, they talk, I listen. Ooh. It's one of those things. But the best part of the whole thing is someone had said a couple of shows ago in an email that I got that our shows that we do and it together are probably the most human shows they listen to. Most of them are somehow scripted or something. We look in a sense in that these shows are scripted because we know sort of where they're going to go. We know. Nobody else does, but we kind of sort of know where these things are going. And when we do them, we're following a schematic that's in our minds, not on paper or anything else in it. So we're actually, it's a cookie cutter show. It's like, hey, let's do this one today too.
I'm sorry, go ahead. What if on the Groundhog Day, what if you actually went interdimensional? What if you tapped into one of those other Earth experiences?
See, that's what I was going to ask you about. Is that some kind of a possibility?
Oh, it's very possible. Oh yeah. And then that Groundhog Day going, isn't it weird? Same circumstance, same person, but possibly gaining a different perspective about things as it keeps moving along. So that's that reinforcement of a pattern to go how we perceive it. We're going to perpetuate, we're going to change it. But then you come right back into this one.
To those who are listening right now, do you know that actually rubs off on people? It really, really does. The place that I was in yesterday, when I left that place, it looked exactly like it did when I left this morning. Is that strange? It can't. How can that happen? It was I walked in and the one girl that was there, I said to her, I says, did somebody like do a lot of, did you guys do any business last night or anything? Oh, yeah, yeah, we did business. I said, well, how come everything looks like this? Well, somebody did this, and they saw that you did that and this. I was helping them out with some stuff. And they said, well, it just mirrored, what you did. But it doesn't only goes to that, because how much you want to bet those people that did what you told them to do it somewhere else in your life. Like you said, one dimension going into the next dimension, or one's energy actually emitting and received by someone else. You're planting a thought.
Well, yeah, and the dynamic of the all time is happening now, right here, right now. And I equate it in a way that kind of like through the internet web, we have the universal web. And so if we're sitting here like we are, and you're calling from back east, or John calls from the Australia, which is about 17 hours in the future as we perceive it, or if someone's tapping in from Hawaii, which is pretty much a couple of hours in the past. But when we're talking through the web, past, present, and future are happening now. That's how you can shift the past and the future from the past. Doesn't matter what time zone, it's all interconnected, just to my awareness.
That's going back to something that I said to you a long time ago when I said folding time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What I mean, it's possible. I mean, they did it. They actually did it years ago. They actually folded time. But, in a sense, that we're doing that every day we breathe. That's exactly what we're doing. We're actually compressing and folding time. Every single day we wake up with the same mindset. This is what I want to do when I get up. And people don't realize that doing what you did yesterday, the day before, the day after, whatever, is all the same thing. We all open our eyes, breathe, and take on the world. We are beings. We're how would you say it? We're like stuffed teddy bears. You know what I mean? It's like it's the same kind of deal. The only thing is the soul is the battery.
Oh, I like that. That's cool.
I'm serious. I mean, it's like that's what we are. Like people say, and I don't want to get on some weird thing or something like that, but when I die, I don't care if they take the ashes and throw them in a garbage can, because what's it going to be worth with anybody? I mean, God, plant a tree, and put my name on it. That's about the size of it. That would mean more than putting somebody in a hole. A long time ago, we did it because it was something that was dear to us, something that we wanted to memory, and everything else. Do you know that only, I think it's 6 or 7% of the people that do actually go to a burial go back within a year to visit that grave? Okay, you're not going to waste. Why waste gas? It costs too much. Go out to breakfast. Throw me the, like as I said, take the box, go out to the bay, take a nice ride on the thing and everything else, and give the fish a dust.
That's beautiful.
I'm serious. That's the whole thing. I mean, me and water are like this.
Nice.
You know that. I mean, I had the boat for so long and everything else, and I've been on sea-going tugboats when I was like 5.
Wow.
so I mean,
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, just around the corner. I listen when I said to somebody was talking about something that this morning, and I said, you know what, I remember that like it was yesterday, and they said, well, how could you have remembered something like that? I said, it was only 50 years ago. Duh.
Yeah, but see, that's the beauty of it. And you kind of bring up an interesting point. Notice 50 years, and you're recalling that like it's happening now.
Sure.
That's exactly how it is with soul tracing, as I call it, or past life regressions, whatever you want to have. It's just recalling like, oh, it's been over the 50 years. Oh, really? It's been over the past couple of 100 years. What was the memory experience that you had? And I'm starting to see more and more people wake up to their awareness that in some, they have lived another lifetime. And they pick up, some of the familiarity or the dynamics. And not only that, I've also seen, as I've shared, that there are times where a loved one, in this case, one of the clients was fairly abundant, had decent money, and she kept giving her daughter a lot of money. And the mother figure was like, well, I'm investing in my next life because I'm going to become my daughter's daughter in that way. And I thought, that's brilliant, beautiful. Well, she graduated, passed. And a year later, the child is born. She knew she invested in her next life. That's brilliant because it was the money, but she knew well, wait a minute. Guess what that tells you? You can target parents or people, those kinds of choosing your parents and life circumstances of potential learnability. Okay, because nothing's guaranteed or there is no destiny. To me, I say if you think you're destined for anything, tell me you can't take your life now or now or now. Where'd that destiny go? Now becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Well, you know what happens now when you die. I mean, come on. Even when I went, I didn't get that far, but I hear stories. I hear stories.
What
stories. Great.
Again, what was your experience?
No, my experience was I never got through the door. I mean, it was like, I was on the other side. Yes, it was a beautiful place. I mean, unbelievable place. It was a place that if anybody knows what the picture of, I think it's Atlas, and that has the universe over his head.
On his
the
world.
whole the whole world, and that is on his shoulders. It's like somebody took that world and threw it off my shoulders. It was the most unbelievable feeling. You're so light, and it's like you were in air conditioning. I mean, it was nice. It was nice. Very, very. I'm serious. I mean, it was very, very nice, and the feeling of love that you see people play with the word love. You know what I mean? There is meaning it, or your heart meaning it, or your mind meaning it. One of the three, or all three, depending upon how you use it. So when you're on the other side, you can feel everything around. Not everyone, not everything, but every piece of what's around you, loving you. And love is a different. When it was all over and I was back on this planet, I knew what I was missing. I was missing love because I really got the first shot at feeling it. I mean, really feeling it, like somebody would inject love into you. Here, you take some love. I wish they did.
Yeah.
I wish they did that at these clinics, man. We'd be a better planet. But, but the idea of the whole thing was when I took my little walk and everything else, and there's a light. You can go to the light or not. There was such a thing. It doesn't look like everybody says it's bright. It's this. It's that. It's colors. It depends upon what you feel, what your soul senses. I guess. As far as I was concerned, it was just like a door. It was a round door to me.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like the roundness to it.
Yeah, but my father was standing right. I mean, it was like a rocky kind of an edge, and he was kind of sort of sitting up against this rock, sort of edge near where like a Stargate thing was, and it was funny because he just turned around to me and he says, "It's not your time. Your kids need you." And that was it.
What happened?
Bam.
Exactly. Don't you find it interesting?
I mean, it was, and then that particular time that I was out of there was about, I think it was 28 days. I was in a coma for 28 days.
Wow.
And then I came out of it. So you can imagine how long I was actually, my mind was somewhere else. 28 days here on the planet. And where I was probably, if you wanted to put it in minutes, maybe 10 minutes.
Wow. But that kind of explains the fact that, like I've shared, you're in it, but not coherent. And kind of like, as we graduate life, you're in it, not coherent, you can't speak, but also the time where I connected with the gentleman in a coma. His loved ones had come to me. He was in a coma for years. Like I do, it can become kind of expensive as you move along.
Oh, yeah.
But they came to me, as I've shared before, and they said, Jamie, we know you do the mediumship and you were very accurate, and that was great, but have you ever done any connections to somebody in a coma? And I thought, kind of like as we perceive it graduating, you can't speak, nothing, you're not moving. And so I said, well, let's see if I can tap in. So I start tapping in and I'm vibing with the person and I start picking up his personalities and dynamics and characteristics. And they're like, yep, that's him. That's exactly him. I'm like, okay, cool. So pretty accurate. Now I also need to follow it up with this because he says, please wait for him to wake up. Wait for 6 months. He was pretty specific. Wait 6 months and he'll wake up. And I'm like, that'd be great. I hope so. But they also knew the mediumship was real. Well, about 6 months later, I get a call. He had awakened. He saved his own life because the family came to me as a potential decision maker. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, no matter what, you trust yourself, man.
Deep plug.
Well, and that's the thing. The great thing is even though he wasn't coherent, and you can travel around, but it's not like he left it and it was a vacant body. It was his aspect of consciousness as a multidimensional being was in the bed and hanging out there, and then can be in other avenues, other dimensions as well. Just by sitting there, by laying there without saying a word, you can still make those connections, which kind of tied into me when I was talking to Chi, my master guide, about how little babies and animals come through. And his response was, well, Jamie, it's kind of like this. Before you come into this planet, you're like the adult soul. You're the oversoul. And you're going to go, you know what, that looks like a fun place to enjoy. And how they do it on that planet is you need a vehicle to get around, whether a human, animal, or an insect. It is only a vehicle to house your soul print of consciousness. And so it's those types of dynamics that you can be sauntering around the universes. This is not the only universe.
Yeah, and not only that, but when you go, you can go any way you want to. I mean, if you want to go to another planet, you go. You know, if you want to see another planet, you can go and see.
And that is another dynamic that I found out with some of the scientific studies that we were doing. We were bridging dimensions, angelic realm, ascended masters, extraterrestrials, and loved ones. And all of those are seemingly different channels, but we blended all of them for like a conference call. And in doing that, you now can realize that you're able to transition into other dimensions, and you don't have to die to do it.
And you know too, and that we're babies.
Of course.
As humans. I mean, we're so. I mean, let's face it, man. We're so dumb. I mean,
trying our best.
I mean, seriously. I mean, I'm putting it as easy as I can. You know, we're the stupidest people on two legs that anybody could. I mean, the fish are more intelligent, but I mean, they were here longer, so who knows? But the idea of the whole thing is that on other planets or these aliens that everybody calls the ETs and things, these people they don't live, 60, 70, 80 years. They 200, 300, and even more than that because they're more spiritual than they are human form. The human form, they can jump tomorrow and just get into another one. It's simple. I mean, they
create another one.
Or like a walk-in or something like that. They can do that anytime they feel like it.
What if that's part of the contributing factor, that instead of having to be born as a baby and wait 20 to 30 years to get it, they can drop right in, and the occupant of whoever that vehicle is, that body, is going to give that energy consciousness permission to tap into that. Otherwise, they're not going to be tapping in.
I was just going to say that you need permission from the soul that's originally there to step in.
And that's the dynamic, is it becomes a win-win. Is in that case, the person who allows that person to come in gets another energy infusion as well, because now that conscious thought pattern is flowing through that physical body. And then you get into Dr. Masaru Emoto and how messages from water thoughts affected, the water molecular structure. And so in doing this, what if our brothers and sisters, ETs, and it's very relative because we're ETs to everyone else, but that they're aware that thought patterns can be absorbed into the physical body, and the water structure can hold those thought patterns strongly. What if they know that and they just send those signals unconditional? You don't have to choose it, but it's a consistent pattern. And they keep that moving so that as they move the pattern, you follow it. It's not like, what happened? They'll give you a consistent pattern. A little bit in a way, kind of like the Groundhog Day. Oh, here's a pattern. Now, are you going to see things differently? Same circumstance or a different perspective?
Mhm.
Because now we see, everything's neutral in life. It only holds the value that we place upon it. What's good for one isn't good for the other, and vice versa. Well, right. There's as many worlds as there are perceivers. But like you, when people can share of what's going on, because sometimes, some of these beautiful religions aren't into this stuff and they don't look too kindly. And then when you're able to make these connections and you can do it for yourself, I'm about the empowerment, not enablement. Because to me, nobody needs to be fixed or saved, just showing that power within, become more self-realized to begin to live life more than survive it. And that's a lot of what we're going through as a planet, is the survivability of life to go, holy cow, it could have been a whole different story. And okay, we're coming back to life. It's literally like this planet's already awake, but the consciousness of the people is waking up to the next level. They're not understanding it necessarily, but they are feeling it in their souls.
Yeah, but you ever notice how some people they get how would you say it, irritable, more irritable. You know what I mean? It's like they try to say something and they don't get it out right, and all of a sudden they get peed off at themselves. It's like and they'll be growling everything else. And then I usually say to them, I said, "Chill out." It's like chill out.
And do they?
Sort of, they sort of come down, especially when they try to explain themselves. Well, this is the way I feel. This, that, and that. I said, look, this is what you do. When you go home, I said, sit in a chair, and I said, just think about nothing, absolutely nothing. If you do that and really, really do it, honestly do it, in about 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds, something pops in your head. You weren't thinking about it, but all of a sudden you are thinking about it. Now, I said, focus on that thing. And I said, work it through. Whatever it was, just work it through. And I said, if you look at your clock when you sit down in the chair and you look at your clock when you get out of the chair, I said, I'll bet you $10 right now that about 20 minutes, 25 minutes will go by when you finally come out of it and say, well, I don't know why I'm thinking about that. But you just wasted 25 minutes of your time thinking about one thing. So imagine how many billions of things go through your mind all day long that you're not wasting time on. You're also meditating at the same time because you're also focusing all your thoughts and your energy to one area and forgetting about what's going on around you. So you're in a peace place.
Exactly. That's where I'm at in doing readings. Your life experience comes off to the side, and then a lot of times you'll be shown your own life experience where you can start healing from your past that's now becoming the present of healing. And I think that more people are starting to open up to that and wanting to make these connections for themselves, because it's the frustration that people aren't wanting to wait. I'm like, oh, it's going to be years and years. It's no, they're but a thought away. And like, when you can make those connections for yourself, realizing, okay, so they're talking with me just like anyone else. I'm just now listening more. And you'll start to have life amplify up and pay attention through those feelings of the soul. I went off onto a tangent, but I just feel like your energy.
You're educating. Go. I'm learning, when you talk, I'm learning.
Yes, sir. Me too as well.
The thing is this. What I want to do, and you can tell me how crazy I am, but I am anyway. But the thing is, I really want to do a couple of shows that are going to be where there'll be like a subject, like what do you want to do with the rest of your life, kind of things, and have people come out and talk, because I have this feeling that I'm going to get a lot more than just the answer to the question. You know what I mean? I'm going to get a story that people can all relate to, because we're all doing the same, like the Groundhog Day. We're all doing the same thing at the same time. We get up, we go to work. Work could be anything. Work could be raking the yard that particular day, but it doesn't matter. But you're doing something. You're being active, and that when you're doing it, that's your human nature to do things like that. How many people out there are really feeling that, and how can I, by doing that, wake more people up to think about themselves instead of the rest of the world?
Just by being you and letting that vibe, that energy of connectedness connect with other people. They'll of their own choice feel that energy alignment. Yeah, kind of like JC. Jesus could walk through a town and literally shift the whole consciousness of that town. He didn't make it. He was just the amplifier. And so people of their own choice, because you go, hey, bada boom, you're healed. And they're like, I'm healed. And then they'd walk away or do whatever the case is. It now became that self-fulfilling prophecy that what did JC always say? Hey, man, what I do, you can do. And not only that, you can do even more. Do you want to? And so as we're seeing, and now you're getting some of the validation of the life in between lives to go right. And unless you either graduate life, pass, or you have your own spiritual experiences, like you, I've had those, and I don't have to die to have it, but the love is everywhere. It is everything. And I came across a post the other day with Albert Einstein. And apparently he had written his daughter like 1,400 letters, and he had one of the letters said, please keep everything away. Do not share with humanity until at least a couple of decades when they are ready. And in a scientific way, this is a scientist, kind of a well-known person, but he also found, and in one of the letters, it said that we do not understand, but there is a vibration of love that orchestrates everything. This is a scientist who had, I don't know, technology to obliterate life, also had the awareness to share life, to save it, and to come from love. And he said, we do not understand what this is, but it orchestrates everything. And that kind of validated for me in that scientific way to go, man, when I connect, I don't have to be anything different, just me. And I can feel the fullness of my soul. Literally, like the best mood, the best meal you've ever had, I'm always connected. And then you come back into this physical, you're like, whoa, most of us are running on empty. And the great thing is I don't have, it's not what I'm doing or any of that. It's just I'm being me. And that's the kind of love, to my awareness, that the universe has for everyone. There is no favorites. We're all the favorite.
Well, you're right when you say that, because I mean that's actually what it feels like. I mean it's something that you really can't explain, but the thing that you can explain is it's not here. You know what I mean? There, you can't go wrong with that answer. I mean, it's like it's true.
But not only that, you're bringing up a very interesting point, and that is there's the difference between the psychic experience and the spiritual experience.
Oh, yeah.
Because the spiritual experience is just like you and I are talking, same exact circumstances, love, the dynamics of that. Those kinds of connections, when you're sauntering through the ethers in that love vibration, that's also permeating your soul. So as you come back into the physical body, you're vibing with the higher frequencies of energy, love, compassion, empowerment, or anything that you want to put into it. What if in that dream state, the astral, that our brothers and sisters and others, angels and all that, are aware of that, and that they can do a soul whisper? You won't always remember it, but your soul index as an eternal being registers everything. What if they know that and they can amplify that love, that compassion through the structure, water structure, and not only that, that thought patterns in this case, as I ramble, have literally, they can create geometric shapes. Dr. Masaru Emoto had people send it one intent. And in one of those, he had people send it love and then froze it. Love literally has a geometric shape to it. Hello. To me, that's kind of impressive. It's a geometric shape. It is solid. And my thing is, if that love is a geometric shape and it creates that vibe, then let's do some more holographic healing and empowerment. Let's do that from one cell and let it ripple through, I don't know, the other 50 trillion cells. I think we come from one cell kind of thing. Right. It's all interconnected. So kind of like the body of consciousness, our physical body is interconnected with everything. That's why the blood doesn't come out, because nothing's solid. It's all vibrations, patterns, light, and frequencies. But don't you find it interesting that things don't pour out your skin? It stays within that structure.
Mm-hmm. You know, you were saying about the love in that before, and isn't it funny though that love is an energy as well as it is a word?
And that's what he said. Albert Einstein said, it is an energy. We do not understand it, but it governs all of the other laws.
Yep.
I'm like, that's scientific.
And the other part of the thing is all of this so-called love is in layers. You know what I mean? For instance, two people that never met before in their life can have a conversation for 5 minutes, and one or the other can love the other. Not love. See, people misjudge the word love. It's so misused in a sense. You know, it's like love. Ah, it's not ah. It's a lot more than ah. But the thing is, it comes in layers, like the two persons that were talking to each other for 5 minutes, or the person who went to a movies and when they were kids and they held hands, or they went out on a first date someplace and then one person put their arm around the other person that was there, or they kissed for the first time. All of these are layers of love. They're different intensities of love. And that energy goes from the time we're born and grows in steps and more and more and more and more till it's defined in the way we feel, think, and exist. And that's where love is so much different and people don't understand it. They just don't get it. And the ones that do get it, oh man, I'm telling you, I wish I'd feel, but you know, you guys are different animals. You know what I mean? Like we could talk for eons.
Yep.
But you know, as far as what we're talking about, like people just getting together on a regular, like a meeting or for dinner or for something like that, you'd be surprised, man, if people actually defined or knew what love was. You'd even your food would taste better. People have actually taken love and loved water. Literally put energy in love in water, and the water tasted better and tested. It was actually tested, and it was tested almost completely pure. Gee, how'd they do that?
Yeah,
Oh, it
exactly.
must have been some kind of an energy thing in that going on. But all he said was, "I love you."
That's all that needed to be said. That vibe is permeating everything.
Amazing. The world,
Yes.
I've said it a million times. The world could be fixed if everybody just loved everybody else.
And themselves.
Maggie's was getting in
I'm
there.
cutting her off. I know.
Oh, jeez.
Oh no, I just, when you have that near death experience and you experience love so intimately, it's learning how to embrace that and open and receive it when you're back here, when you dance back into the body, when you come back into this dimensional, heavy, dense human experience.
Yeah, okay.
And we're going to call it dense, because it is. And so recalling the love and the light, and your body was light, you were like airy, you were like, everything was perfect temperature. But anytime you can recall the love, when you can recall the frequencies of light, of all the positive things that you could experience on the other side, you can call them into you. You can almost channel them. And I think that we walk around very disempowered a lot of times, saying, "Oh, we don't have the energy to do that," or we can't do that. We're not that powerful." And that's some of the language that I think that we can fix so that we can realize we're an eternal being. Yes, we're in this very dense body and this dense type of vibration, but we're a human being having this beautiful experience. And if we were to allow ourselves to be powerful enough, call it godlike, if you will. I don't really care what we call it, but to be powerful enough to channel that vibration. We all say, "Oh, I wish, I wish, I wish." But what we're really doing is saying, "I'm going to do this, and I'm going to show the rest of the world how to do this. I'm going to cultivate love. I'm going to open and receive it. I'm going to feel it, the vibration, the frequency. Oh, is my body too heavy? I'm going to be light. I'm going to call in the sense of lightness, call in that primordial lightness of just pure energy state and allow myself to vibe with it." It's the same thing of changing water. You can make that water completely pure. You can make your body completely pure. You can make your mind completely pure. But I think everyone needs to allow themselves to step into that level of greatness, that level of, "I can do this." And I'll start with what I know. And what we all know is maybe the love we have for an animal or a child or something very basic, something very simplistic, but we can focus on just that intention. We can send it to ourselves to learn how to embody it, and we can send it to the world. And I think when we start practicing, we realize, wow, I can feel light in my step, and I can feel this love, and I can see love in every crevice of this dense, weird universe that we live in. And that, I think, is what we need to kind of focus on, is practicing. And instead of saying, I can't feel that again, or I'll never feel the same way, or it's not here. Well, there's a little thing about bringing heaven to earth and earth to heaven without being separated from source. So we have to just learn how to integrate source, whether it's love source or just light vibrational frequency source. We have to learn how to be that source and how to resource ourselves to tap into those sources, channel them, experience them, share them with people, share them with the world.
And you know what you're talking about too, Annette, is there are so many worlds within us and around us all the time, and we just haven't opened up enough to realize they're there. Right, Jamie? You were just thinking about that too.
Yeah, and it's the dynamic that we need to find ourselves. Because for me, I found that the more I found myself within life, the more life I found within me. And I went from, okay, just existing to living. And when you can do that for yourself and people can go, okay, so it's okay to be good for yourself. And it's not necessarily narcissism, but self-realization, because you cannot give what you do not have. Now I'm starting to see you're kind of smart because you're taking care of yourself as well as you're helping others. Because I thought you're supposed to help everyone else and not you. Like, no, but when they can see it in action and in your own life experience, and sometimes just observing and absorbing that, and they don't have to put into it, they can learn a lot more about it, which is how a lot of people have become accustomed lately over the past year and a half, because so many have been kind of sequestered to home. A lot of people are online. So you get stimulated, but you don't always have the communication going on. Like, remember that one, communication? Because now the very technology that's bringing the world together is separating us as well. There'll be people or kids sitting in front of each other, and here's what they're doing. I'm like, look, they're right there. Talk.
God, I do that all the time.
And so, it's those perspectives, those individualized perspectives, kind of like we're talking about love. With our spiritual experience, we're pretty much saying the same thing. The psychic aspect is different, though. The psychic is receiving information on how you perceive your reality. And that's why psychic information is vastly different with each person. The spiritual experience, as you know, and people who have had near-death experiences and all that, feel that love. And don't you find it interesting that your dad was like, doink, no, not your time yet. And you're like, oh, okay. But he became that conduit, that bridge of connection. And what's interesting is you're seeing it as a door. And Nikola Tesla comes to me with the scientific studies and stuff. And in one time, he was in a doorway. He called it a door, not a portal, not a whatever. It was a doorway. And it's the doorway of consciousness. And so literally, you can take that doorway and go in and come back to this one, because everything's spiritual. It's just an energy vibe. So you don't have to lose yourself to the spirituality. You find yourself within it. And then you realize everything's spiritual, life is relative. And when we're all allowed to use our abilities, kind of like the layers of love, it allows everything to be. Because the very circumstance of taking a life that wouldn't seem to be a positive is actually sometimes somebody will love that person enough to where they'll help them to graduate, euthanasia, or, whatever the case is. Or the animals, we put them to sleep because we don't want them to suffer, because we love them so much. And isn't it crazy? It's almost sounding like an oxymoron. The love is taking what the, but that's the point to me, is love of itself has no opposites. Love of itself already is unconditional. The moment you say unconditional love, you've just put a condition on it. I think that might be my next client.
It's really early.
I know. I'll have to check.
Oh,
Cool.
well, you guys are at the end of the line here, but I want to remind everybody, you just have to write to www.jamieclark.net, and you can find out everything about Maggie and Jamie. It's all in there. The store is there. I'm telling you, they got some things. They got some things already. I'm telling you, I got some things that around here. I got a mouse pad and I got my shirt. That people, that I swear to God, if you go through what's a crowd of people, they'll all turn around. It's really cool because everybody's. I mean, the blue itself is distinctive. When you're out, very very cool. Okay, whose idea was it?
Cool.
But
Lots of love, brother.
this is what I want everybody to do. Everybody to write to Pyramid One Radio at AOL.com. If you would like to know more about what we're talking about, or you want a copy of the show, or you want to know some more addresses that I can send you to, oh boy, they're right on the chat room right now. So if there was some people in the chat room, you'd get all of the whole thing is there.
Excellent.
So anyway, what we can do is we will get in touch with you and we will say, hi, how you doing? What can we do for you?
Yes. Right. We are here. Let's do this.
Be well.
Ow!
Oh, yeah, we got the good stuff going. Now, I want to tell everybody, this is how you do it. This man will be back in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you're going to hear a lot more about that man in the beginning of the show than you did this time. I want everybody to remember one thing. There is a word that's called love. This is what we need. It's inside us. Let it out. Let it breathe. Let it be part of you. Let it be part of the world. God bless y'all. Bob Charles.